we should avoid this? I mean, I know that there is no right and no wrong, but still, I just want to know, because this hurts me on a personal level to see a lot of violence against.
It is irrelevant. It cannot be changed through how-tos. It is a complete and utter failure of a way to ask a question. Nothing will work like that. That isn't how things work, through changing behavior. How can we manage this? How can we stop doing that? Why do we feel that way? Things don't work that way. These kind of questions belong in a trivial pursuit game. They have no basis in reality.
In any
Things do not work this way. And as I'm talking now, you already have a follow-up question, which means you didn't hear anything. You heard the words, but you heard nothing. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a follow-up question. If you got something from it, you did. If you didn't, you didn't. But any follow-up questions would more of the same.
Hi, Kapil. So my question is, how do you know that you're acting from a place of truth? Is love the only litmus test there is?
These are all words.
I seem to care a lot about what other people are thinking about me. It continuously brings me anxiety, and it is troubling me. How can I deal with it?
Every time I follow advice from every wise man, as you say, I try to follow prescription from the very high achiever. Even then, I fail. What is the reason behind it?
Because prescriptions don't work. That's the reason behind it.
Hello, sir. My question is about, I suppose, mood or day-to-day feeling. So when I think of, hey, I have to do XYZ tomorrow, and then I wake up tomorrow and it's a different day, it almost seems like me telling myself to do something tomorrow. Is that a subtle form of prescription as well? Is that why it doesn't work?
Well, that's a fair question. People essentially do what they want to do. So if you have to tell yourself to do it, then you didn't really want to do it in the first place.
Is fear necessary to achieve great success?
No.
Hey Kapil, my question is you said that Bhagavad Gita.
Hey, Kapil, appreciate your work. I wanted to ask, what is the truth about achieving a specific goal while at the same time having a possibility of not attaining it yourself? Thank you.
I don't really understand the question. It's too vague.
Hello, Kapil sir. Have you experienced God? Is He there? Can you tell us about it?
Telling you stories won't help you. You've been listening to stories your whole life. Those kind of things don't go anywhere.
Okay.
Hey, Kapil. Thanks for everything you do, as always. I have a specific question in regards to a concept you've talked about in reference to perception training, specifically in sports. I noticed personally in my boxing, I've been doing it for over a year, but I still struggle to get concepts or understand the movements in certain ways as quickly as I'd like. And your work has been helpful in realizing that it's when I actually understand the movement is when I actually experience the progress, not just, for example, punching a bag for hours on end. And I'm just wondering, forgive my, I'm struggling to phrase the question. I'm wondering is there a process or a way or how you sort of understand and come up with these different ways of perceiving it so you can understand it better? I can clarify if that doesn't make sense.
There really is no way that I can explain to you perception training in this type of form. It is a very intricate, deep, exploratory, nuanced, multifactorial, and complex thing. It is absolutely the essence of things, but there's nothing that I can tell you to send you on your way and then you will find perception training. Because it is just too. There's so many layers to it, and it's just too nuanced. It would kind of be like saying, how do I build a rocket to get into space? I mean, it's too intricate. But the very fact that you're interested in that, that is the thing to be interested in, because it isn't in the traditional way of coaching and instruction and technique and all of those things. Perception training is literally a career unto itself.
I see. Thank you very much.
Hello, Siddha. As my sincerity matures, things seem to come together, and things that were always there seem to fit into place. I'm wondering if there is an understanding that I can have that would. I'm worried that these things coming together is just a story that's playing out in my mind to make me feel better, and I'm wondering if there's an understanding to be had.
Well, if you're worried about that, I mean, that's a good sign, because then a person who's worried that something is not real implies at least the possibility that he is looking for something real. And people who are looking for something real are very, very, very rare. No one's looking for anything real. Everyone's looking for a how-to. Everyone's looking for a good way to feel so that I can, tell them a nice story, so that I can send them on their way and they can be a little happy. Everyone's looking for cosmetics and blush and mascara. So if someone is afraid that what they might be experiencing is not real, then that's a good sign, because it suggests that perhaps they are looking for something real. And the benefit of that is if someone is definitely looking for something real, then they actually may find something real, because that's what they're moved by. They're not moved by the cosmetic. They're not moved by the prescription. They're not moved by the how-to and the method and the shaving of their head and putting on, a nice perfume and putting the incense in the room, or managing with emotions and dealing with this and how to that. So that's probably the best thing that you could take away from this.
Thank you.
Kapil, how do you know that my thought is telling me something versus I really want it? How do I make that difference? How do I know that what I really want?
That's a fair question. How do you know what you really want? It would really, a thing that changes all the time tends to be something that you don't want.
I just wanted to ask, how do you clear your mind?
There's no how-tos.
Hey, Kapil, just finished your books, very captivated by it. So my question is, I'm having trouble finding that one ideal I want to embody. In your book, you mentioned that one ideal that would bring tears to your eyes if you cannot find it.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
If you read it, then it's there. But I just can't. I don't remember that. That's why I'm saying it.
Okay. My question is just this: I'm having trouble finding an ideal that can move me, and I'm wondering.
I can't help you find that.
I'm just wondering.
are stories are stories ever useful to attain the truth?
Well, what you're really asking is it okay for me to listen to stories? That's what you're essentially asking.
If narratives are ever,
it's like the person who asks, well, can prescriptions be good? That isn't a real question. That is a question which is asking for permission to use prescriptions. So therefore, the question is invalid. So it doesn't matter if one has to be past the point of looking for cosmetic things. And if they're looking for some value in cosmetics to go to the nth degree to find, is there possibly, maybe I could find one morsel of value in a cosmetic? The question is of no interest.
Hi, Kapil. You have written about the ineffectiveness of certain habits to get somewhere, to arrive. My question is, are there effective habits to get somewhere? And what will those habits be?
Oh, hello. Oh, my apologies. I think I don't understand the problem that I have, but I think the problem I have is the desire for truth and the seriousness that I used to have isn't mature.
Dr. Gupta, I don't know if you hear my question.
Hi, Kapil. Is physical fatigue and tiredness in part a creation of the mind?
Yeah, hello, Dr. Gupta. It's an honor to speak to you. I wanted to ask, are all the thoughts that arise from the mind strategic? For example, some thoughts of the day seem random, and that is the mind that tries to appear random. Or if I have a reaction to a thought, then the thoughts that arise from that action are also in a strategic attempt to move me towards a certain direction.
What does it matter?
Yeah, my journey, I try to just understand all the details of the mind and how it influences me. I try to understand patterns.
I mean, you'll be chasing that for lifetimes.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Kapil. I really appreciate you having me on. I need to give you context to ask my specific question. I've been listening to your work nonstop, 1,000 times each. In my opinion, there's not enough out there. I feel thirsty every night for more. And every time I listen, I find something new. It's as if the last time I listened to something, my mind was blocking out certain truths, and I get them the next time. And I don't mean that as a prescription. I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you what it is. Recently, the truth has helped me attain levels in my business I have never before with the least amount of work. However, we've gotten to a scale where I've had to hire for mechanical things. And these are management consultants that run systems, etc. But I get this negative social stigma from certain management, even though it's my company, that they don't like the way I'm running things, like the same way people call you a nihilist, etc. It's very irritating. I don't care what they think, but I'm cautious if this could have an effect, because I never want to go back to a place I was before. I hope that makes sense to you.
Well, I can't tell you what to do. If it annoys you, it annoys you. I can't.
I understand. My question, I should reframe, is can certain prescriptions be packaged, be forced upon you if you have the truth on your side, and can they bring down your ability to access to the truth? I'm asking if it is a risk, not for a prescription.
I don't understand the question. It's too complicated.
Okay, thank you.
You seem to be annoyed by people who don't like what you do, and that's just a commonality across the board, no matter really who you are. That's just the way the world is.
I understand. Thank you.
That what my thoughts are what my mind is throwing at me, are those the real thoughts or what I am thinking? How to differentiate?
You're caught in a circle.
Even after giving myself permission to do whatever I want, I'm not able to give full permission. Why this is the case?
Hi, I tried to ask earlier. My apologies. It seems as if I'm not as serious as I once was, and I wanted to. It feels like the problem is that I don't desire truth, but I want truth. So, can you tell me why I'm not as serious as I was?
No, nothing can be done.
Hello. My question is what is it that I have not understood about me or relationships that I keep getting my heart broken and keep breaking other people's hearts?
Well, there's a million things to understand. I can't answer that question because I don't know your particular situation.
Well, I would, if you allow, I would just say.
I feel like I have two minds. I observe my thoughts and I see that they are not truthful. Is there a mind that we should give preference to? So, like our compulsive mind and our thinking mind? And
no, it's all the same.
And can any
Hello, sir. It's great to speak to you. My question is, firstly, I used to believe that the more time it took to achieve something, the more I believed that what I'm going after is real. But now I'm beginning to realize that it's just all waste of time. So, what's your take on this? That is it important that the more time it takes to achieve something, the more better it will be, or the more real it will be?
No, that's too much of a categorization. That's too general. That's not specific. You cannot make a blanket statement based upon generalizations. It all depends upon the situation. It all depends upon the details. It all depends upon what you're talking about. You can't just say more time equals this and less time equals this. I don't know what someone's doing in less time. They could be wasting their time doing less time and wasting their time doing more time. Both are a waste.
All right.
What does a path to truth look like?
I can't describe it to you because then you try to copy it. So it won't go anywhere.
Whether I'm ready for the truth.
Well, that's not something that you have to apply for. The very fact that if someone's asking the question, "Am I ready for the truth?" means there must be something there that has some level of desire for the truth. Otherwise, one wouldn't be asking the question unless we're trying to show off. So if one is not trying to show off, then there must be something there that wants the truth, and therefore there's a possibility that that individual will perhaps genuinely embark upon that path.
Something that I struggle with is the struggle between my biological nature, which is to seek pleasure and minimize pain, and the sort of relief of seeking the truth and truly being in the moment occasionally and rarely, which is an occasional sort of form of bliss and sort of an example of being able to at least temporarily transcend my biological nature. What I struggle with is that there's so many businesses that make a pretty good living off, I guess you could say, hacking my biology. There's food, dopamine from social media, and stuff like that. My question is, can you conceive of a society or of a culture that seeks truth beyond just the individual, that seeks something?
Firstly, is it fair to say that you're an intellectual?
Yes.
Yeah. So you have the real mark of an intellectual, based upon the languages that you use, based upon the way that you speak, the word choices that you use, the word hack. And the intellectual will always be interested in the masses. The intellectual will always be interested in group kumbaya. He will always be interested in hacking this and prescribing this and techniquing this and the latest Silicon Valley books that are recommended, wearing togas and do whatever the hell they do. There's no mass anything. There's no group anything. Anyone who seeks for anything that is related to world peace or mass enlightenment or society or the world, that individual has zero possibility for truth in his lifetime. And that will likely not even matter to him, because that isn't what he's interested in. Intellectuals don't seek truth. They seek intellect. They seek theory. They enjoy conferences. They like wearing lanyards. They like socializing and talking up a storm about nonsense for ego gratification. So the answer to the question is no. Society will never be that way, because the very definition of society is untruth. But me having given you that answer will do nothing for you, because that isn't what you're seeking.
My question is, does everyone's truth look different?
No, there are universal truths, but then there are also situational truths.
Hi, Kapil. If one has come to a point that he realizes there is not much value in anything else, like anything in life, it almost feels like I'm not seeking it actively, but I'm somehow like I'm drawn to it, and it feels like what I'm going to find is not bliss, but like pure emptiness, and I fear it somehow, and I almost wanna like go back, because I think I'm not gonna be satisfied, or like it's not like it's like happiness, or it's not something pleasant at the end of the tunnel for me, and this somehow frightens me or bothers me. I don't want to say how, I don't want to say why, but like yeah, is it true? Like is it gonna be that way?
Well, I mean, I can't tell you if it's true. You've just said that that's how you feel, and you're frightened by both one way and the other, and my answer is okay.
And is it like what's holding me back? That fear?
It doesn't matter, because that's not what you really want. Like you said, you want to go back, and okay, so you want to go back. There's no fighting it.
Yeah.
You want to go back? You go back.
Sure. So, the biggest things for us.
Miss the discourse, but I have been reading your discourses, your podcasts from last 6 months, or about 8 months, and it's kind of made me like alone, like like I can see the waste in societal things, but I do have a questions to I do have one question to ask. Uh, when I have a level of intellectual knowledge or anything like in skill or understanding much more greater level than my colleagues or a friend or anyone in my neighborhood, that creates a sense of pride, and that is causing me a little problem. That is causing me a little problem in the sense like it uh, it wastes my time, and when that pride sets in my mind, I'm like I don't focus on the thing which really uh, moves me, or the thing that I'm really attracted towards because of that pride. So I hope I have explained uh, clearly.
So this is one of the finest questions I've ever heard. Bravo to you for asking this question, because it is very sincere. And you've obviously recognized it, that you have obviously recognized what comes up, and you've also recognized that what comes up is hindering you. And you did not take it because I said so. You did not read a discourse or a book of mine and say, well, you said that this would happen, and therefore it did happen, and you found it yourself.
Yes.
And the very fact that you notice that it is causing you hindrances, the best thing that I could tell you is to have the sincerity to examine what you have examined without prescriptions, and then to have the level of awareness and the desire for the awareness to look into and recognize, but more to look into, that it is causing you problems. That will be your greatest benefit. And in what way it shows up or does not show up, in what things it makes you do and does not do, those are details. But the very fact that those raw materials are there is what you will benefit from most.
There is one more thing I want to say to you, just 2 words for you. I'm very grateful that I have found you from anywhere, from maybe from Nawal's podcast. Uh, Thank you for showing the things as they are, and it's really I feel sometimes very alone. Like the people I really love, they don't understand. Even when I try to show them your discourses or podcasts, they get bored, and I really they always suffer from some of the other things, but they don't understand, and I feel very sorry for them. Like I want to see them like in a peaceful manner. I want to see them I want to see them in freedom, and that also is causing me pain from not seeing them in freedom. uh, that has happened through your discourses, that you have really made me like very alone in this world, and the only person I can now talk to is like you and your discourses. So I don't know, I'm thankful or not. So I'm just anything I might say, like thank you is very good word to say, and thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Hello, Kapil. My question is it normal for your mind to remind you of the understanding of detachment that you have from everyone around you, including your kids?
That's just the mind is just echoing a bunch of things that it's read.
Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah. I think. So I understand that death, I'm going to die one day, and I want to take every decision for along with this truth, but my mind keeps tricking me and makes me for.
No, you won't. You won't get there. You understand only intellectually. You won't get past that.
Thank you, Kapil. My question is, the thing that we refer to as the truth, is this the same thing that religious people refer to as God and the spiritual people refer to as enlightenment? And have you achieved this truth?
It's a fair question. And what the way that I can answer that is to tell you that if you say religious people or spiritual people, the answer is immediately no, because people don't know anything. Now, you might have one rare individual who has found God, or who has found whatever they consider to be God, and if that individual is sincere and if they have truly found it, then the answer to your question will be yes. But that is so rare that isn't even who you're talking about. And as you use the word people, therefore the answer is a blanket no.
So for me, like, I realize that, like, every time I'm going down the path of, like, chasing something or, like, chasing anything, like, I always catch myself, like, I catch myself, like I know that I'm chasing the thing, but the thing is, but the thing is, like, I always feel like that I have to chase that thing because I don't really, because, like, chasing the thing is like me trying to figure out, like, what I really want. Because
So after reading your discourses for a while now, and like, I never knew some of the things that could have been a possibility had I not come across these writings. I get more afraid that through association with people and through exposure to culture, the grand possibilities.
Hello. Is it possible for someone to be rich and know the truth at the same time? This has been bothering me for several years for now. Hello. Can you hear me? Is it possible for someone to be rich?
Dr. Gupta, you have written about the ineffectiveness of certain habits to get somewhere. My question is, are there effective habits to get somewhere? And what will those habits be?
It's too general.
Okay.
It depends on the situation.
Perfect. I found that there are certain truths, such the greatest desire always triumphs, or that by getting angry with someone for an offense, one is causing harm to that person who offends us. Perhaps there are certain coincidences. What do you think about coincidence?
This you're just wondering. This is not a specific.
Hello. So I try to be as much as in this moment as just being aware, and I'm no longer seeking anything. If there is any truth, it is here as we speak. But I think it is making me less ambitious, as now I have no fear about the future and nothing to chase. Do you believe to be successful, you have to be mechanical and worry about future?
No.
Hello. When I write my stories, I find that sometimes I disappear when looking back after I've written the story. I think that might be what you call no mind, but I find that I'm not able. I'm wondering what is preventing me from being able.
You're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to prescriptionize it and get it when you want it through that means. And there's no point in asking that question, because really even the desire to get it through those means is you're already on a path that will lead nowhere.
Okay.
Just want to know, like, do you think words have the capacity to show us the path or its ignorance?
I don't know. I've written a lot of words, so I mean, I think you will have to judge for yourself if they do or they don't. I can't answer to you one way or the other from your perspective.
Hello, doctor. I don't want to sound ambiguous or opaque, but why don't people, or I guess me in general, why don't we work super, super hard for the things that we want? Like, why is it that there's like a hesitation? And
who cares if you work hard?
Well, yeah, no, I know what you mean, but what is
a mule? A mule works hard. Does a mule succeed?
No.
Is a mule a successful creature? So what does hard work have to do with anything? It's an irrelevant question. The entire concept is flawed.
Hi, Kapil. It's truly an honor to speak to you. I've been immersed in your work for the past year, and it's completely changed every single complexion, every single second, every single hour, every single waking second of my life. After the first exposure, I felt myself entering into a different dimension of life, and ever since then, everything else just lost all of its color. Everything else just looked black and white. Every single question that I wanted to ask, it all just dissolved because words are dangerous and they don't really carry any significance, because whenever a word is spoken.
What's your question?
My question is, if the desire is raging, if the desire is at a fever pitch, is it inevitable that I will find my way there?
Well, I mean, those are different people's definition of what enough desire is or fevered pitch is. If it's enough, it'll be enough. And if it's not, it won't.
As Krishnamurti says, the observer is the observed. So I just wanted to know, how does one person be in that state?
Ask Krishnamurti.
He is no.
All my world, but I'm very afraid that I'm going to play mind game to get out of that, and I truly don't understand what's the more truth about it. Thank you.
There's nothing to say.
Oh, hello, Dr. Gupta. I'm sorry, I was Mike. You speak of this rare DNA that the ones have, I think, like newborns would have it right away. And being as a parent, how do I go about not putting any of my bad influences on my child and let my child be?
Yeah, there's no way that's going to happen.
Right.
And that's why it's the most important to focus upon yourself.
Thank you.
Truth. I ask myself questions and hold that question close to my heart. And I find that the more I'm avoiding untruths that are everywhere, seemingly in the radio and books, podcasts, that the more I avoid those untruths, these questions I have are answered and the truths are revealed more naturally. My question or more concern is that I will be avoiding, or maybe the truth will elude me. I'm hoping you can provide some clarification. Thank you.
The truth eludes everyone. But if your desire to find it is genuine, then you have a chance.
Hi, Kapil. Thanks very much for your time. Of late, I have been into serious introspection, and as I discover the untruths, I find myself becoming more calmer and also disinterested in thoughts about my future and also about events that occur in the world. So this is very new to me, and while I'm calmer, I'm also concerned that am I on an ego trip and becoming disinterested about everything else and becoming a delusional self. So if you could.
Well, actually, the delusional self is being interested in the world. That's the delusional self. But having said that, well, I think it must be very plainly stated that there can be no recommendation that it is a good thing to become disinterested in the world, that it is a good thing to lose ambition, that it is a good thing to, and that is preferable and that is proper and that is correct. I will never say that. It just depends, however, it sits with a particular individual. If it sits well with them, then it sits well with them, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But one of the greatest and most poisonous aspects of so-called spirituality is it actually tells you that something is good versus another thing, and to leave things behind is good, and to be more calm is good, and to be less of this and more of that. Well, that's good. Even if you don't like it, that's still healthy and good. That's complete nonsense. There is nobody can tell you what's healthy for you and good for you and proper. Just however you feel about it, you feel about it. That is, if you were going to take away one poison out of your body, out of your mind, out of your soul, out of your spirit, which you probably won't do, you won't accomplish it. Most will never do that. But if one was able to do that, if one was willing to do that, it would be the goodness and the healthiness and the properness and all the things that spirituality and self-help tell you that that's the proper way for you. If that could be removed, then a lot of turmoil could be avoided.
Thank
you. To life other than gravity.
Doing good. My question is, why do people fear, and how to get rid of it?
I listen to your truth podcasts and I want to accept the truth. Is there any way to speed up accepting the truth and removing lies and the mind, etc.?
There is absolutely no reason to accept it.
Hi, Kapil. So a while ago, I was listening to one of your talks with Mo, and you said something that kind of struck with me for a while. And I don't remember the exact words, but it was something like, I've realized that everything that my mind said throughout life was wrong. And, I started to see that, to look at my life, and I realized that that is true. That, everything that I thought I wasn't. Everything that I thought I wanted, I didn't really want in the end. And right now I'm to a point that I don't really know who to listen to, because if my mind says only false things, then I don't really remain with nothing else. So I don't know if...
Exactly. Explore that. Good for you that you realize that.
Hey, Kapil. One of the things that I struggle most with is self-image. Is kind of my most unstable kind of part of myself. As I try to live up to the self-image of myself grander than really who I am, kind of exposed externally. My question is self-image something kind of to rediscover, or something to kind of freshly form within oneself that is internally compatible with oneself and not from the external?
I mean, I could give you the answer, but it would only be you taking it on faith. Therefore, it would not be of great value to you. So try both of those possibilities and see what happens.
Thank you.
Rekindling a lost passion from long ago, or you're just naturally trying to shut out society? Does that mean you?
Well, there's a disingenuous possibility to cultivate something. In reality, it's there or it's not, and it may show up or it may not show up. Forcing things doesn't really get anyone anywhere.
So I have a tendency to self-sabotage myself anytime I get close to a success, something I define as success that I want. So I guess that would mean that I want to be miserable and stuck in the position I'm in. But there's a part of me that would rather die than have that happen. So it's I guess my question is, why would anyone want to be miserable for their whole lives?
Ask the mind that question, because everybody is.
I understand, like, when you said that culture is not real, I understood that very easily. And that how it's like just man-made and it's not like actual thing. But when I feel like there are way more acute things and like relevant things to me that I still don't understand, how come I'm not able to pick those up as easily as I was able to pick up some of the other things?
I don't know. I don't know you, so I can't answer that question. But if by other things you mean societal things, they're easy to pick up because it's all intellectual nonsense.
The societal things are easy to see through, but things such as like the concept of myself or other things, I still can't see through those.
I don't. You may not necessarily have seen through the things that you thought that you've seen through. You may have seen them intellectually.
Hi, you recently mentioned that a man doesn't want to be afraid. How does he do that? How does he not be afraid?
There's no how to. There's no how to. It's a nonsensical question. There is no method. There is no how to.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Kapil.
I couldn't hear that individual.
My question for you is, why do you think the world is driven by fear and not love? And what can we do about it?
Empty concepts. You must be new here.
My question is, if you are compelled to pursue a thing, is there any benefit in knowing why?
It's not about the benefits. If you're moved to know, then you are. It's not a should.
Thank you.
One of your private discourses recently talked about the man at the top of the mountain. Do you believe that there's a natural truth or progression to why people reach some pinnacle, and then there's like this valley that follows, and then there's a re-reaching of the pinnacle. See this a lot in professional sports and in business. Wondering if there's like a natural truth there, or is that more about the individual?
I am very confused about not finding the real truth about money, but I am looking deeply within, but I am not able to understand the real truth about money. So, can you please give me a path towards finding that truth?
My question is, in your experience, what's the best way to decouple from mind and body?
I didn't hear your question.
In your experience, what's the best way to decouple from mind and body?
There's no way.